All right. So, welcome to an overdue Couch Time with Cataya. And today's guest is Dreya. And adore,
Hi.
I adore Dreya. Um, and what we'll do, maybe just to start off, we were just talking a little bit about Ganesh. And so, I'll just do a little mantra for calling in Ganesh. And Ganesh is really powerful in the sense of holding space for all the higher energies. Ganesh is really like a gatekeeper for all the angelic realms, the ascended master realms. So when we're working with, as sensitives, when we're working with these energies and we're attuning to these energies, when we call in Ganesh really keeps that gatekeeping so that the right energies come through for us that are of the highest frequencies.
Perfect.
I do this in my regular morning practice. It's a little piece before I do a deeper Nasaya and Bija practice. So just connecting in the middle finger with the thumb. And so this is basically the remover of obstacles, which Ganesh really brings in. And the mantra is Om Gan Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gan Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gan Ganapataye Namaha. So just a little planting of the seed. All right. So I love connecting in times like this with others that are sensitive and open and are also spiritual seekers. So I'll say a little bit about you, Dreya, and then if you feel like you want to add anything, just please feel free. You're probably one of the strongest people I know that's on a very, very deep, very powerful development path, and that you have a very strong attunement and a very strong connectivity into your spiritual development and into realms and pieces outside sort of the normal 3D that a lot of people connect into. There's a deep level of inner knowingness in yourself. You're very skilled and very gifted at really being able to see as an empath level into other people's fields and to be able to see what's really going on for yourself and for others. And one of the pieces that I'll dive into today we'll give some highlight to the reason that is so powerful for you. And one of the reasons that's such a huge gift and a huge piece that you're here to embody in this life. And you're also extremely gifted, which also shows up in your chart. Venus in your third house with being very gifted with skills with hands. So Hasta, the nakshatra, which is the lunar mansions that come in as influences into our field. So that's connected into your Venus. And Venus is where we really embody our passion, where we really embody, those things that really bring us alive, and where we feel really almost like it brings out like the inner child within us to play. So your ability to really work with creating beautiful art pieces comes forward very, very strongly with your Venus placement in the third house. So third house is all about our skills, our skill set, especially communication and things that come through the craft of the hand. And with Hasta is all about what comes through the hand. So healing work that comes through the hand. It's any kind of skills or skill sets. The artist is usually seen in this component, and anybody who has that ability to work really finite and detailed with the hand is seen. And you are wearing one of your pieces if you want to speak to it.
Sure. Yeah. I love that you just mentioned that because last night I was like really getting into this sort of like archetypes that I've been going through and like the wise woman but like the weaver came through this like archetype of the female, the weaver. I realized that's what I'm doing. And everywhere it's like they weave the universe. It's this creative energy that I guess I tapped into. And that's what I'm trying to bring forward. I didn't even realize because I'm like, oh, I'm a problem doing all this inner work. How can I show my gifts and be better? And it was just macrame was like going deeper in and working through all of that. And I don't know, it's like a microcosm of the universe. Every piece I do, like the really complicated ones that I create out of like a vision, it's like the hero's journey. I tell people, because man, you think you have it you think you know what you're doing, you get started, there's always a hiccup, you realize, wow, did I not realize how deep this is, how deep this goes, and what it takes. And it's like a journey, and the patience and the overcoming it, and then you birth it. It's like these babies that had these whole like 9-month journey, almost it feels like, of gestation. And there's this time I've noticed that I have to sit with that before I can put it to sail. And that's where I'm at. I've been sitting with these pieces forever, and I'm like, it's time. I think it's time to speak the truth of the weaver, to like give these gifts back to the world. And yeah, I don't want to hide anymore.
Yes. Well, and also too, it's a gift, right? So the energy that you put into the creations that you're making, and like you said, it's like weaving the threads of life. It's weaving together the different components of who we are. So there's a very deep internal process that's
Yeah, it's like shadow work comes out when you
yeah.
take the time to, like, just do this mindfulness tasks, anything, washing dishes, you start to see your shadows and your fractured aspects and like everything. Yeah, that's what that, hermit archetype brought out of me. She birthed all of those hidden aspects because I had the time to go into it. And I realize now my life is just beginning. Oh my God. I thought, like, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with the wise woman archetype because I'm German, and, we were raised with those stories. And I was sure that was, when I'm old, that's going to be the outcome. I couldn't wait. But it
Yeah.
turned out, oh my God, that was just the
I'm getting
beginning.
goosebumps.
Yeah, I had to
And
go through that.
and it shows up everywhere in your chart is the wise woman archetype. It's
Yay.
I'll dive into the first one because it completely embodies what you've just said. Well, I mean, I guess the second piece, because I was like, okay, the first one feels so playful because it is about, it's like the joy and what brings like the, what's that word, the verb de vivre, or there's a French saying for like for bringing out like the gusto and like the magic of who somebody is that has a place to really land. And so very, very powerful. So many ways to look at our inner makeup, like who we truly are. And of course, I'm a know thyself junkie. And I really feel like, the more we dive into who we truly are, the more we're here to evolve and to grow and give ourselves those planting of seeds to actually move forward in deeper levels of who we are. And so my form of study is more Jyotish related. So it's in the Eastern traditions, and it is quite involved, and it's probably the deepest level of cosmology study that you can get into. A lot of people, I think it can be daunting because it's a lifetime study. I would say that it's never going to have a finale because there's so many layers. And the more I connect in, of course, I'm an intuitive myself, it's like the cosmos communicate with me. So there's this whole embodiment, it's a dance. So I want to really give reverence as well that you hold the deepest nakshatra piece, like the star that is here to embody the deepest root of the root of the root of the self. So what that looks like when we think of it symbolically, it's like digging as far down into the earth as you can go to get to the root of where any plant would start its embodiment, where it would start its seeding. So there's no way that you can walk a lifetime in this, like walk a walk in this lifetime where you're not going deep. The root of who you are is to go deep. So that nakshatra is called Mula. And it is it's almost like the womb of the self, like being able to go into those dark places, being able to go into those aspects of self that are so deeply rooted that a lot of people would shy away from. It's like you crack that door open, it's like, oh my gosh, there's a whole bunch of stuff in there, and a lot of people will run. And
It's true.
people that truly do spiritual development work and truly overturn parts of themselves, they're the ones that go into those shadow works. They're the ones that go into the womb, that go into the deep dive of digging to the root of the places within ourselves to understand and to unfold and to heal and overturn these parts of ourselves. So you have two placements with Mula. So the moon, which is moon, mind, emotion, and mother, is all interconnected with how the moon is correlated into our life walk, and also Jupiter. And they're both sitting in the sixth house. So the sixth house is all about, it is about illness. It is about, it's a bit about hardship in life. It's about being able to connect in and understand our enemies or people that have come into our life where there's been more difficulty or where it's been very challenging. With having a Mula placement there, part of your life journey is to really overturn things that have been maybe harder, to be able to then offer those services and offer that help to others. And with that component of those placements, it's wisdom teaching. So Jupiter brings in the highest level of wisdom teachings in the deepest position possible in Mula, with connected with the mind. Like when you see Jupiter and moon together, this creates a very wise soul. And it's also in Sagittarius. And so Sagittarius is one of the houses, that's one of the placements where Jupiter naturally resides. And so it's in its own home, which creates even more strength. So it can be one of the most challenging positions for, a certain portion and walk of our life, because we're here to embody the gifts that are meant to come forward from that placement. And when I look to see, so of course, I'm going to probably say some terminologies that are not as commonplace to be as connected into, unless you sometimes learn a lot of these different terminologies, but I'll try to do my best to explain it so it doesn't seem so jargony. So we have what's called our Atmakarka and then our Atmamakarka. And so the Atmakarka is what, in Jyotish, it's what our soul is here to achieve. And your soul is here to embody the sun energy, which is about embodying and taking full claim of your soul self. So that is your mission in this life. That is where everything and every thread that you do is connected into the root of what you're here to do. And your second highest position is Saturn, which sits in your fourth house. And your fourth house is all about reclaiming self and coming home to self. And Saturn is sitting in your fourth house, which is all about, it's a disciplined process of overturning all aspects that then bring you home to the true embodiment of who you are. So it's a very, very powerful placement. And it's, when we understand these pieces about ourselves, it is about being able to really understand, how to continue our journey and what our true soul path is in this lifetime, to be able to really be in like homage and reverence to what our path is in this lifetime. So very, very powerful. And then I'll just tip it off because, you kind of have to tip it off, that your sun sits in the second house, which is one of the houses of where we see affluence come through, where we see success come through. And it's also sitting with your Mercury. So your communication and being able to bring forward who you are through communication is where you're going to shine your light, and it's connected into where your success lies. So it's, there's a whole journey, especially anyone that comes here to really, to truly walk a spiritual path. It's not an easy path. It's not something that you can always explain to, sort of the, everyone who's out there, but those that are drawn to and who understand what it looks like to really embody a true walk and a true unfoldment of deep, deep spiritual evolution can resonate and recognize one another. So it's about really calling home your tribe and your true people. And at any point in time, if anything stands out that you want to speak to, feel free to interject.
It all resonates with me, and I have so much to say to like validate all of that. Yeah, I'm so excited, to see those things showing up at this time in my life, because I wasn't even able to see my gifts for the longest time. I can't believe how far I've come where I can embody them. I can start to own them, and I can say, hey, I own that. Yeah, it's not shameful, because that was the joke, is like my mom was just trying to protect me because she was like, oh, you're an outcast. Oh my God, this kid is so strange and so weird and she's so tapped in. We have to suppress that. Like she meant well.
Mhm. And
Um,
there's different archetypes, right? So even like in Jyotish astrology, we look at, what are we here to embody? And a lot of people that are here to really do this type of inner work and to really bring forward healing work in this way are usually going to be considered what's called the outsider. So we don't kind of fit naturally into the natural groove of the regular rhythm of how most people do things. It's usually a little bit more of an abstract walk, but a very powerful and very can be very profound, the walk, when we really honor what we're guided and how we're guided to, to really live our life and the walk and the journey of the stages of what are meant to unfold.
Definitely. Yeah, I can't even believe I'm here and spiritual, like the how closed off I used to be. And I don't know. It's been a journey. I can't believe how much people can transform in like just one lifetime. And I can't wait to see, yeah, what this next chapter takes me. I'm so grateful. Yeah, for you. Cause like, yeah, you keep reminding me of like everything my soul's been trying to tell me my whole life. And I'm like, yay. So validating.
We
And yeah, we're like taught not to own that we can't own our gifts and that, so it's so nice to see you owning it and like showing people how,
Well, it's
yeah, to teach how to be. Yeah, it's so helpful. So
the
thank
more we
you.
reclaim ourselves and any kind of fragmented parts of ourselves, the more we really flourish. And it's, there's that saying that, it's, people are really, two things come up. They can be very uncomfortable with people shining their light and being truly who they are. And they can also be really inspired and really be given the ability and the permission for them to be, to really step into who they are as well, and the beauty of what that looks like.
Yeah, there's such gifts to it.
Yeah. Yes. I want to do one more for you because I could totally unfold so many things about your chart, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna hit the top pieces that jump out immediately that I know are going to be so just like reaffirming like who you truly are and like the beauty of your walk and the beauty of what you're here to bring forward. It's, I would say that most people that, it's not for the faint of hearted, true development work, it does take a lot of deep diving. And so your mula placement, it's like, no, we're not going to go. There's no way like of like halving it in this life. It's like go big or go home. So it's very, very
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot of like, I'm very drawn to mula people because things don't stay on the surface and it's very rich. And that's what
Good.
people really seek at the deepest levels of themselves, but it can also challenge people because it can also take people out of their comfort zones to actually talk about
Yeah.
things that really matter and to talk about the true inner deeper levels of the inner psyche. And so, you're somebody who that is what you're here to bring forward. You're here
Yeah, it does scare a lot of people away.
well, and it's sometimes it's
But
planting seeds as well too. And also we're not meant to always resonate and jive with every person out there. We need to really know that, like, again, as an outsider walk, it is very unique. And so those that
yeah.
are meant to be wanting to do that type of work as well too will be called in and drawn, but also just kind of respecting it's not going to be for everyone because it can challenge and create a lot of discomfort in the personal evolution, like that analogy of the butterfly becoming the butterfly and having to go through all of those processes. Like it's not a comfortable process. It's not an easy piece, but it's the most rewarding. The same as like
Mhm.
birthing a child. It's like that's an agonizing, excruciating experience to go through. Not that I've experienced it myself, but I think anybody who gets one glimpse of what that looks like can say that's definitely not a cakewalk.
Mhm.
But we're also not here to kind of play small, I would say, and especially with where we're at in this time on the planet and with everything that's happening, there's more people that are being called in to really birth these types of gifts forward because of the work that's really needed.
Yeah, that's what happened. I finally realized, oh wow, maybe this is for something because yeah, COVID happened. I was like, oh my gosh, I know how to handle this. I have all the skills to teach people how to like balance their nervous system when they're alone, like how to find joy, how to be okay with this. I was like, wow, I lit up and I like realized I can help people.
Yeah.
All the things that like we were like, hide that, no, hide it alone. It became like such an asset. So that's what happened. And I'm like, let's delve deeper into that. Yeah. How can I help because
Mm.
of it? Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting. I was we rerouted a few times in my in timing of landing in to do this today, which I was very thankful. I was like, oh, we're in a perfect flow. I went to the gym earlier and I did a yogic practice and I did some personal training practice and just really and some landing into myself before kind of going deeper into some of my own personal things that I focus on daily and in attuning myself. And I was really just taking a look around as everybody's cleaning off gym equipment and doing this and doing that. And just, that analogy was coming up about the external and internal world. We can't cleanse the whole world. We can't sanitize the whole world, but it's actually a very strong metaphor for what it looks like, for what's actually happening on the internal level. People are being asked to actually go through and do a cleaning up of the inner psyche and the inner parts of the self and areas and roots to why do you do what you do in your daily life? Why do you make the choices that you make? Why do you speak the way that you speak? Why do you feel initiated to make those decisions and choices in whichever ways they are, like impulsively or non-impulsively? How are those things really derived? And when we get into the inner psyche, we get to see how those things are actually being formulated. We get to become a bit more of an observer of the inner self, and we get to really become more in a place of rather than karmically walking our path. We start to bring in free will and an observer part of the self, being able to look at the self on a deeper level. So, long tangent. Okay, so the last piece I wanted to highlight. So in knowing thyself, I've done a lot of study in different directions. So one of those is also in the analogy of how the structure of our self is formed. And so the one I wanted to look at today is that it's based on the campus, which is the fold of the eye. So when I look at you and you're in your natural positioning of like how, like your resting position, there's very little of that campus that really shows. And so you would be more in the space of being someone that is more of an inward focused person. So the more that shows, like when we see people that have like a really big eyelid, and that part is really is quite pronounced, we can see that they're more of an outward flow person. So they're going to be somebody that's going to, hey, I want to go talk to that person. They're just going to walk right up and they're going to talk to them. Hey, I want to start this project. They're just going to jump right in and start that project. So there's a different way that the inner psyche also matches and mirrors the dynamic of being able to see the depiction of how ourselves form. And so you're going to definitely be somebody who is going to think a little bit more about processes. You're going to go in more inwards to really connect in with what different things look like or mean or how different things land. You're going to have more of an internal process with things before you might come forward with something. So you do have the ability, because it's not completely void, which some people, it's like there's no campus there at all, the epicampus fold. So you have the ability to titrate back and forth. So you have some ability there, but your natural disposition is to be definitely a little bit more inward and to really take time to really think about things before you would move forward with a decision or a choice.
Accurate.
And I would love for you to talk to you, before we finish our little coach time with Cataya. I would love for you to introduce one of these beautiful pieces. It's definitely time to be in more playful mode, and summer is here, and I love what you are creating.
Yeah, I was inspired by this piece I made for a costume of mine years ago, but I decided I want to make fun headwear because I have no intentions of growing my hair out. And I want to share beautiful headwear with the people this summer. So yeah, I brought this out to inspire me to come up with some new designs. And yeah, since we're called in Ganesh, I was like, ooh, I'm gonna wear like an elephant. So it can be like a tiara, it's multi-purpose. So I want to make jewelry with like double intentions like that. Like I've done a crown before too, where you could do it
Oh, I
like,
love
yeah,
it.
there's
I
so
love
many
it.
different ways you can like wear it. So maybe I'll make more
That
of
is
these.
so
Keep
cute.
in touch. Yeah. Ooh,
And
them
also
made.
your earrings, this is a creation of yours as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't been putting, I've been afraid to put myself out there. But yeah, this summer,
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna make an effort
Okay.
to reveal some things. Yeah.
And if people are inspired to connect in with you for one of your beautiful pieces,
Oh, I'd
um,
love that.
yeah, how would you like people to communicate with you?
You can contact me through my Facebook page, Dreya Designs,
Mhm.
or just find me on Facebook, just
Okay,
Dreya Stanjic.
perfect.
And yeah, I'd love to tell you when my next event is coming or how you can access anything, or maybe I can come up with something custom because if
Mhm.
we're in residence, oh my God, it's so much fun to create things that I vibe with. So yeah, I look forward to that.
Yes. And is there a show that's coming up that is it a festival, a show that you're going to be
Some
attending?
friends, yeah, are doing a little small festival that I pitched the idea of maybe have some vendors. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm branching out. If you have any suggestions, I'm immobile, so I can't really get around, but I'm open to creating space for opportunities. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So maybe if you want to do a little, you can always add a little link as well to this video, or if people want to reach out to find out more. I know everybody is starting to percolate up and is looking for a fun festival, a good vibe time. So people are on the search, on the hunt.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yay, I'd love that. Yeah, contact me.
Mhm.
Love to share it with you guys. I mostly work with crystals. I got every kind of crystal you can think of. I can probably whip you up something.
Okay. And if
Uh,
somebody has a personalized crystal that means something to them,
mhm.
you can create a jewelry piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yay. Okay, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much for playing today, and being available and being open to, some of this deep dive is very powerful. And so allowing people to have a snapshot of the beauty of who you are.
Thank you. Oh, I'm so inspired now. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Absolutely. Ah,
Okay,
okay.
great.
Thank
Bye.
you.